After a not so good student teaching experience and some substitute teaching, it became very clear to me that my plans to teach and have my own classroom was not meant to be. My voice simply is not strong enough to be heard over a classroom full of kids. God was still in control. Toward the end of my college career, I met and married the love of my life, my husband, Doug. A couple years into our marriage, we decided to start our family. I was able to get pregnant easily and had a great pregnancy. A new plan for my life started forming as I sat there with my hand resting on my growing belly. I decided we were going to have 4 wonderful kids. It was going to be great. I shared my new plan with Doug, who was much more realistic than I. He said, let's see how the first one goes, then we could talk about having more. He is a very wise man, but still I thought, what could possibly go wrong with my new plan? On July 17th, 1994, just 2 days after my 24th birthday, I gave birth to a perfect, beautiful, healthy baby boy. Our son, Doug IV, came into the world. An hour after he was born, my plans for having more kids was going to have to change. I suffered a massive brain hemorrhage. I immediately lost consciousness and I have no memory of the event. CT scans were ordered and a neurologist was called in. Upon a further assessment, it was decided that I needed a neurosurgeon. Dr. Pakal took one look at me and my test results and said I needed to be prepped for an emergency craniotomy. He needed to get the blood out of my brain before it killed me. Even with the surgery, I was only given a 10% chance of survival. Doug sprang into action and started making phone calls. As the Lord would have it, our son was born on a Sunday morning. One of the first calls he made was to some friends of ours at the local church. Word spread fast, and churches all over the country, from California to South Carolina, were on their knees praying for me. I know the only reason I survived that surgery was the power of those prayers that went up that day and the skill of this great surgeon that God used. I was unconscious for 11 days before slowly waking up. During this time, the only thing the doctors knew for sure was that my left side was paralyzed. Beyond that, they didn't know the extent of the damage the bleed had done. They were just going to have to wait and see. I spent a month in the hospital recovering before being transferred to a rehab hospital. The day I was admitted to the rehab hospital was the first time I started to comprehend what happened to me. I allowed myself my first good cry with Doug's sweet arms wrapped around me, with all the love and comfort he could give me. He assured me that somehow, with God's help, we would get through this together. At the rehab hospital, I started my long road to recovery. Here is where I learned to walk again and learned to live my life as a disabled person. There I wrestled with a range of emotions, including anger, sadness, and frustration. How could something like this possibly happen to a healthy young woman? I had done everything I knew how to do to have a healthy pregnancy and successful delivery. Although I will forever be grateful to all the family and friends who helped out during this time, I longed to be the one at home taking care of my newborn baby. I wanted to be the one who brought him home from the hospital, put him in his crib for the first time, give him his first bath, and be the one getting up with him for his nighttime feedings. Instead, I spent my days learning to change diapers and make bottles with the use of only one arm. I spent my nights crying out to the Lord. I begged him to heal me, making all kinds of ridiculous bargains. I know that my God is powerful enough to do this if he chooses. And he could have healed me in that very moment, but instead he's used many wonderful therapists, doctors, and a lot of hard work on my part to get me where I am today. I could not even sit up on my own when this first happened. Now I can walk without assistance, I can drive a car, I can tandem bike ride, and I can even jump in a pool and swim if I want. I do not have any use of my left arm, but I have learned to compensate. I no longer beg God for my healing, but would gladly receive that if he did. Like Pastor Matt said, my God can, my God will, but even if he doesn't. I know that the Bible tells me I will have a perfect glorified body in heaven. I will no longer have a disability or pain, and I will even have a wonderful, strong voice again. I am still a planner, but I take one day at a time and try to let God's plan for my life play out. I still struggle with my disability, and once in a while I pray for healing, but mostly I pray that God will give me contentment no matter what my circumstances are. I am truly blessed and try to focus on what I can do, not what I can't. I cannot tell my story without mentioning two of the biggest blessings in my life. The first is my amazing husband, Doug, who has never left my side. And the second is my wonderful, awesome, super fantastic 21-year-old son.